Hello viewers, hope you all are fine. So today we are with another new video. Okay, so this is Dr. Sudha. I welcome you all to this new video. So this is the first video of Unit 3. Okay, so you can see here. This is written here as Unit 3 within bracket 1. That means from today we have started the first lecture of your Unit 3. Okay, and I have already completed Unit 2 up to Unit 2, and there are 25 to 26 classes, and unit wise I have also prepared the content separately, so everything is stored there in the different playlist. Okay, on the name of Unit 1, Unit 2, so you can watch all the previous videos, and all the videos are as per your syllabus. Okay, so everything that is in your syllabus is available in this channel. Okay, so we will go to the discussion that is on disaster management. Okay, so today we will only discuss about the introductory class and types of disasters, the meaning of disaster. Okay, so my dear students, here before going to the discussion, I would like to request you, if you are new to my channel and if you are the returning viewers, then and if you have not subscribed my channel yet, then please subscribe. Okay, and like and share among your friends also, so that they can be benefited from this. Okay, because e-learning is a part of your learning system. Okay, so you can learn everywhere at any time through this social media, through YouTube, through Google. Okay, and everything that is discussed in this channel is only based on your Aecc.1 environment study and disaster management paper. Everything is there. So multiple choice question I have also shared few, and have planned to upload more, so that you will get more and more numbers of short questions, means 1 mark questions. Okay, so if you will watch this video from first to end, then you will be able to answer all the multiple choice questions and your long questions on types of disasters. It is one important chapter. Okay, and previous year also this question has come. So and you have to remember that from this year onwards, this unit is introduced for the first time. Okay, so previously there was no environment or disaster management chapter in the EVS paper. Okay, so now come to the discussion, and if you will continuously watch from the starting to end, then you will be able to know the meaning of disaster, then types of disaster, then some examples of disaster, then how we can manage the different types of disaster, everything. Okay, so without further delay, let us discuss the what do we mean by disaster. So here you see disaster means what? In the right side of your screen, there are some pictures, okay, which shows the examples or situation of the disaster time. This lightning, okay, thundering, then your different types of disasters are there. We will learn it, okay, during this lecture. So disaster is a sudden calamitous event. Okay, means we call it as a calamity also, which brings great damage. Okay, so you can also simultaneously you keep one paper and pen with you and just make some notes so that you can make your own note which will prepare you for the upcoming university examination to answer a long question, okay, or even if multiple choice question from this disaster chapter, okay. So disaster means what? It is a sudden calamity or event which brings great damage, loss and destruction, okay, and devastation to life and property, okay. Then the damage caused by disaster is immeasurable, means it's very difficult to measure the exact damage caused by a disaster, and it also varies with the geographical location. So how much damage the disaster will create, it depends upon several factors, out of which geographical location is one, okay, means the disaster is happened in which place, then climate of that particular region, then the type of the earth surface, degree of vulnerability. So what is vulnerability? We will discuss in a separate class because it is also in your syllabus, okay, in detail. So for this you keep in your mind that there will be another class, okay. Then this influences the mental, socio-economic, political and cultural state of the affected area. It is obvious because when there is something damage, then what influence it will put on the particular locality or particular people, particular man. So this influence the mental, you will be mentally harassed, you will be socially and economically you will be put pressure, then cultural state of the affected area. So disaster has a several roles on these aspects, mental aspects, socio-economic aspects, political aspects, cultural state of the affected area, okay. So disaster we can say is an emergency in which local authorities cannot cope the goal of emergency management, okay, and it is to protect the public health. So we can say that all disasters are emergencies, but not all emergencies are disasters, isn't it? If there will be any type of disaster, suppose earthquake, then there will be one emergency arise. But suppose there is emergency of a medical case due to some accident, or accident is also one type of disaster, man-made disaster. But suppose there is some emergency of health condition, okay, then we cannot call it as a disaster, isn't it? Then what is the exact meaning of disaster? So the word disaster derived from a French word disastri, which means in Greek is bad aster, that means bad star. The root of the word disaster comes from an astrological theme in which the ancients used to refer to the destruction or deconstruction of a star as a disaster. Okay, in the disaster word, it is pronounced the star disaster, isn't it? That's why it is referred to the destruction or deconstruction of a star. So the ancient people believed that the disaster is occurred due to the unfavorable position of the planets or act of God. So you know that the ancient people, they have different myths, they have different beliefs on different things. So for this particular thing, that is disaster, the people think that it occurred due to unfavorable position of the planets or act of God. So they believe that it is a act of God. Okay. Then here you can see that disaster, it is spells as DISASTER. So D for destruction, I for incidents, S for sufferings, A for administrative, then financial failures, S for sentiments, T for tragedies, E for eruption of communicable diseases, R for research program and its implementation. So this is the word by word definition of the term disaster. Then you know that there is one organization WHO. So WHO defines disaster as any occurrence that causes damage, ecological disruption, loss of human life, deterioration of health and health services on a scale sufficient to warrant an extraordinary response from outside the affected community or area. Okay. So, Red Cross, you know that Red Cross is one organization which is related to the donation and your receipt of blood. Okay. So, Red Cross defines disaster as an occurrence such as hurricane, tornado, storm, flood, high water, wind driven water, then tidal wave, earthquake, drought. Several examples are there, or other situation that cause human suffering or creates human that the victims cannot alleviate without assistance. So what are the causes and types of disasters? Now come to the fact. This is the exact theme of our class. Okay. On the basis of origin or cause, the all types of disaster are categorized in two types. One is natural disaster, another is man-made disaster. Okay. So what are the natural disasters? So there are some hydrometeorological disasters. Hydro means water, meteorological means meteor means weather related. For example, your hurricane, cyclone. Okay. So, and geographical disaster. Then biological disaster. COVID-19 biological disaster. So, we will learn it in next part. But you just see the types. So, then man-made disaster, that is also we can call it as anthropogenic disaster. So, examples are technological disaster. Then environmental degradation is also one type of disaster. Then come to this, that here the entire picture is in front of you, that natural disasters are meteorological disasters, topographical disasters, environmental disasters. Okay. So here flood, tsunami, cyclone, hurricane, typhoon, snow, storm, blizzard, hailstorm, all these are coming under your meteorological disasters. Okay. And what is topographical disaster? Means it is related to your topography of a region, like your earthquake, volcanic eruption, asteroids. Okay. And environmental disasters are global warming, ozone layer depletion, solar flare. So all these are also considered as one type of disasters. Then man-made disaster, one is technological disaster. What is that? Transport failure, public place failure, then fire means somewhere suppose fire catches, that is also one type of disaster, and it is coming under a technological disaster, because in several times fire catches due to failure in some your equipments like ACs, or in motorcycle or bike also, when engine gives some problem, then fire catches, isn't it? Then industrial problem or disaster also occur in industrial industries, that is chemical spills, radioactive spills, or that we call as radioactive pollution. Okay. Then security related, that is war, like the best example is now going on, the war between Rus and Ukraine, isn't it? Then terrorism, then internal conflicts. All these are security related disasters. Okay. Then your this is the same water and climate related disaster picture. You can also represent your answer in this way by making some pictures, by making some graphical representation, so that it will be more mark fetching. Okay. So it comes as a long question having your 7 marks. Okay. So you can draw these pictures. Then next is your list of important disasters. I have already discussed that: earthquake, flood, tornadoes, cyclone, hurricane, tsunami, fire, nuclear leaks, then terrorist activities, structural damage, everything are coming under your different types of disasters. Then label of disaster. Okay, and on the basis of speed of onset, disasters are categorized as sudden onset disaster, slow onset disaster. Sudden means it is sudden. There is no time to predict it, just like sudden earthquake. Okay, and slow onset disaster means we can say your that cyclones. Huh? So before arrival of the cyclone, before 3 to 4 days, there is warning system, so that we can be aware. Okay. Then label of disaster. There are different labels of disasters. So what are these? Label 1, label 2, label 3. Okay. So label 1 means if the organization, agency or community is able to contain the event and respond effectively utilizing its own resources, that is known as label 1 type of disaster. Then label 2, if the disaster requires assistance from external sources, but these can be obtained from nearby agencies. Those are present in nearby localities. That is known as label 2 disaster. Then label 3 disaster, that is if the disaster is of a magnitude that exceeds the capacity of the local community or origin and requires assistance from state level or even federal assets. Okay, that is known as label 3. Then question, if I will ask a question here that which label disaster is much more severe, then what will be your answer? That is label 3. Yes. So there are different phases of disaster. So that these are there in your next classes. So this class is only based for your types of disaster. Okay. So phase of disaster, I am just discussing it in a short interval of time. I will not discuss more because in the latter classes you have also this disaster management chapter. Okay. So pre-impact phase, impact phase, post-impact phase. Pre-impact phase means it is the initial phase of disaster prior to the actual occurrence. Means this is the phase when there is no arrival of the disaster. Okay. So a warning is given at the sign of the first possible danger to a community with the aid of weather networks and a satellite. Many meteorological disasters can be predicted. For example, now our meteorological department is very much able to predict the disasters like your cyclone, so that suppose cyclone will be held after 1 week, so before 7 days we can get the news. Okay. Or we are being aware that one cyclone will come, so accordingly we are preparing ourselves, isn't it? These are the pre-impact phase. Then what is impact phase? Impact phase means the phase occurs when the disaster actually happens. Means at the time of the disaster. Suppose cyclone is happening. During this period of the cyclone. This is known as impact phase. Okay. So it is a time of enduring hardship or injury, end of trying to survive. This phase may last for several minutes after an earthquake, plane crash or explosion. Okay. Or even if for days or weeks, as like in a flood, famine or epidemic. Okay. And what is post-impact phase? That means recovery begins during the emergency phase and ends with the return of normal community. For persons in the impact area, this phase may last a lifetime. Okay, means for lifetime this impact persists. Like your victims of the atomic bomb of Hiroshima, till the date from that event, the symptoms persist with people those come in contact with that situation at that time. Okay. Then now effects of disaster. So population displacement, injury or death, risk of epidemic or disease, then damage of infrastructure like our building collapse, okay, road they are blocked. So these are the effects. Psychological problems, food shortage, socio-economic losses, shortage of drugs and medical supplies. So these are some effect of disaster. Then principles of disaster management. There are different principles for managing the disaster like comprehensive, progressive, risk driven, integrated. So you just remember this, but you need not be worried because these are additional informations. Okay, these are not required. Okay, then principle of disaster management and how the management is done. So a continuous and integrated process of planning, organizing, coordinating and implementing measures which are necessary for prevention of danger or threat of any disaster. Okay. So for disaster management we have to implement these processes. Reduction of risk of any disaster or its severity. Then capacity building. Then preparedness to deal with any disaster. Then prompt response to any threatening disaster condition. Then after that the assessing the severity of effects of any disaster. Okay. So we have to do these steps: evacuation, rescue, relief. So now let us see phases I have already discussed. So these are some picture how the government team, like your there are several organization at national level, at state level, at district level. We will discuss in the later on classes. So these are the government personnel. Okay, they are engaged in the disaster management processes. So there are some guiding documents. This is one important discussion. Okay, listen, that guiding documents for disaster management. So there are some documents exist with government. Those are known as guiding documents before disaster management. So what are these? One is your Odisha Relief Code, that is abbreviated as ORC. Then there is one act known as Disaster Management Act, which was enacted in the year 2005. Then guidelines issued by NDMA. NDMA is one national level disaster management organization, and the full form is National Disaster Management Authority. Okay. Then state disaster management plan. Then district disaster management plan. Then disaster management plan prepared by departments. Then instructions issued from time to time by government and special relief commissioner. Then practices and precedents. So these are some guideline documents available for disaster management. Then there are some organizations in our country, those deal with the disaster management. Okay, and there is also one toll free number, that is 1070. So you can dial this number for getting any information on disasters. And there is also one website, that is http www.ndmindia.nic.in. Okay. NDM means National Disaster Management India. So these are organization logo. This third one is Indian Institute of Tropical Meteorology. It is situated at Pune, Maharashtra. Okay. So once upon a time I was a research fellow also in this organization from 2006 to 2008. Okay. So those days were very pleasant and very rememberable. Okay. Then these are all your disaster management authority. So these are some organization in India, those work on disaster management. So these are all for today's. Okay. So in our next second video we will discuss more aspects on disaster. Okay, and how to survive from different types of disaster, and we will discuss everything those are there as per your syllabus. Okay, so you need not to be worried, you just see or watch your syllabus. Okay, and you go to any unit, suppose unit 1 environment, you just go to my channel and search that fundamentals of environment, you will get that class. Okay, and along with that you have some materials, those are coming on your slide, you can easily make your note. Okay, so these are all for today. Bye and take care. So we will meet in our next video, which will be on the second lecture of your unit 3. Okay. So if you really like this video, then please subscribe. Thank you.